Hello, my dear students. Today we are going to learn a powerful poem called An Old Woman by Arun Kolatkar. This poem shows us how a simple encounter with a poor old woman near a temple turns into a deep reflection on life, poverty, and human dignity. This poem is set in Jejuri, a famous temple town in Maharashtra, India. Arun Kolatkar wrote an entire poetry collection called Jejuri in 1976 based on his visit to this pilgrimage site. The horseshoe shrine mentioned in the poem refers to one of the shrines at Jejuri dedicated to the god Khandoba. The poem highlights poverty, human dignity, and the harsh realities of life. It shows how an ordinary encounter with a poor old woman can make us reflect on social inequality and human suffering. I shall read the stanza first and then give you all the explanation. Stanza 1. An old woman grabs hold of your sleeve and tags along. She wants a 50 paisa coin. She says she will take you to the horseshoe shrine. Let me explain. The poem begins in a bustling pilgrim town. An old woman approaches a visitor, clutches his sleeve, and asks for just 50 paisa in return for showing the way to the shrine. The small amount of money shows her poverty and desperation. This shows how many poor people near temples survive by offering to guide visitors or sell small services. It also sets the tone of the poem. The old woman is not begging directly but trying to earn by offering guidance. Imagine visiting a famous temple and a poor old woman clings to you, saying she will show you the shrine for a few coins. In real life, think of tourist places where guides or vendors approach you again and again hoping for a little money. Stanza 2. You have seen it already. She hobbles along anyway and tightens her grip on your shirt. Let me explain. The visitor has already seen the shrine, so he doesn't need her help. But she doesn't give up. Despite her limp, she continues to walk beside him and even grips his shirt more firmly. This shows her determination and also her helplessness. She has no other way of earning. Think of an old vegetable seller who, even though you refuse, keeps following you, pleading you to buy just a little from her. Or street hawkers in busy markets who don't leave your side even after you say no. Stanza 3. She won't let you go. You know how old women are. They stick to you like a burr. Let me explain. Here, the speaker compares the woman to a burr. Burr is a small seed with hooks that sticks to clothes. The simile suggests that her persistence, once she clings, she won't let you go. The line also carries a slightly dismissive attitude toward her, as if old women are simply troublesome. Burr, if you walk in fields, tiny thorn-like seeds stick to you on your socks or pants. You struggle to remove them. Just like how a child might cling to a parent's hand in a crowded fair and refuse to leave. So here the poet is trying to compare the old woman to a burr. Stanza 4. You turn around and face her with an air of finality. You want to end the farce. Let me explain. The visitor, annoyed by her persistence, finally turns around to confront her. The word farce suggests that he sees her behavior as silly or irritating, not serious. He is impatient and wants to escape the situation. Imagine being repeatedly asked to buy something, and at last you stop and firmly say, "Enough, leave me alone." It reflects the natural frustration tourists often feel in crowded pilgrimage spots. Stanza 5. When you hear her say, "What else can an old woman do on hills as wretched as these?" At this moment, let me give you an explanation here. The tone shifts. Instead of begging, the woman questions her own life. What else can I do to survive here? Her words reveal her despair and helplessness. The wretched hills symbolize poverty and the lack of opportunities in her environment. Think of an old beggar telling you, "If I don't do this, How will I eat? That makes you realize the harshness of their life. It's like when farmers in drought hit areas and say, if we don't leave for the city, how will we survive? Stanza 6. You look right at the sky, clear through the bullet holes she has for her eyes. The speaker now notices her eyes, hollow, tired, and compared to bullet holes. This metaphor shows emptiness, suffering, and the violence of poverty etched into her life. Through her gaze, he is forced to look at a bigger reality beyond himself. Eyes that look lifeless, as though they have seen nothing but struggle, like war survivors or famine victims, whose eyes tell stories of suffering without words. Stanza 7. And as you look on, the cracks that begin around her eyes spread beyond her skin. Her wrinkles and cracks are no longer just physical signs of aging, they symbolize the cracks in society itself: poverty, neglect, and inequality. Her personal suffering reflects larger social problems. Just like cracks on a wall show the weakness of the whole building, her wrinkles show the weakness of the social system. Imagine seeing one poor person suffering and realizing that it represents the suffering of millions. Stanza 8. And the hills crack, and the temples crack, and the sky falls. This is a powerful metaphor. As the visitor truly sees her suffering, even the environment seems to collapse. The sacred hills, the temples, and even the sky appear fragile. Everything he once thought permanent now feels broken. Imagine realizing that all the things you believe to be holy or unshakable are meaningless in the face of human suffering. Like seeing grand temples built in gold, but outside poor beggars starve. It makes the temple itself feel hollow. The last and final stanza. With a plate glass clatter around the shatterproof crone who stands alone, and you are reduced to so much small change in her hand. Let me explain. The platter glass clatter suggests a shattering of illusions. The woman, though poor, is described as shatterproof, meaning her dignity and strength cannot be broken. The visitor, on the other hand, feels reduced, insignificant, almost like the coins he gives her. He realizes that poverty is too deep to be solved by a small offering. Like, for example, when you give money to a beggar, you realize that your act doesn't change their condition. The problem is much bigger. The shatterproof woman represents the resilience of the poor who survive despite everything. So, students, an old woman is not just about a beggar in front of a temple. It's about poverty, human dignity, and how society ignores the suffering of the poor. The old woman may seem weak, but she makes us realize uncomfortable truths about life. Arun Kolatkar's poem, An Old Woman, is set in Jejuri, and it describes how old women suffer, guiding a visitor they try to earn. If you found this explanation helpful, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for more poem explanations and English lesson. And also tell me in the comments, what do you think the poet wants us to learn from the old woman? Thank you for watching.